And after this, I saw in the night visions, behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. Remember the iron here. This was the iron in the clay. All right. So what is that saying? That's saying that this final kingdom will have the strength of Rome in it. See, many people get that twisted. They think it's going to be literal Rome, but it's talking about the same power or the same strength or the same dominance that Rome had. So will this Antichrist kingdom have. It devoured and broke in pieces, meaning that it crushed everything. And it stomped the residue or the remaining residue with its feet. And it was diverse from all the other beasts, meaning it was different from the other beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. All right, so let's write that down. Here are the 10 horns. And what do horns represent? A horn is a king. In verse 8, he continues, I considered the horns, meaning I began to look and examine the kings. And behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. So what is he talking about concerning this little horn? Well, this little horn comes up, he sees it, and then as he sees it rising, what that horn does is that it plucks up 3 of those horns as it rises. And what is that little horn? That little horn represents the Antichrist. So when the Antichrist rises, what is he going to do? He is going to uproot 3 kings or 3 rulers in the earth. Let's keep reading in verse 8. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. So he's going to speak boastful, arrogant, prideful things. Kind of zero in a little bit further on this Antichrist kingdom. I want us to understand what this Antichrist kingdom is going to do. It says here that the fourth beast will be a fourth kingdom, which will be diverse or different from all the other kingdoms. And look at what it's going to do. It's going to devour and break in pieces and tread down the whole earth. Now, one thing we have to understand about the Antichrist is that when he rises, he will come with a flattery speech and with talks of peace. But also at the same time, he will have a mouth speaking great things, and he will be boastful and arrogant. So on one hand, he's promising peace. And then on the other hand, you also see arrogance and flattery. On one hand, he's talking about making something great. But on the other hand, he's talking about crushing things and subduing things. And that is what the Antichrist comes to do. Now, when we talk about the word devour, we're talking about essentially 2 things. We're talking about consuming something and then accusing something. Accusing of wrong, accusing of fraud. And that is what it means to devour something. The Bible calls Satan the accuser of the brethren. And what does he do before God? He goes and accuses us of our sin. So in the same way, the Antichrist will also accuse the world of wickedness. They will accuse people of fraud. They will accuse things in order to gain popularity and to gain influence and to gain power over the whole earth. And then it says he will break in pieces. So essentially, what is the Antichrist and his kingdom going to do? They're going to crush and shatter the entire earth. And we see this in the book of Revelation. Stay tuned for the next teaching on the Antichrist and his kingdom.